They are the largest land animals on Earth, the undisputed architects of ecosystems, and the keepers of a watery wisdom that predates human civilization. When you look into the eye of an elephant, you aren't just seeing an animal, you are witnessing a living library of memory and instinct. Yet, every wrinkle on their gray skin tells a story of survival under siege. We share this planet with three distinct living species: the African savanna, the African forest, and the Asian elephant. These titans shape the very landscape they walk on, toppling trees to create grasslands and digging wells that save entire ecosystems during drought. But the math is terrifying. Today, there are roughly 450,000 wild elephants left worldwide. That might sound like a lot, but historically, it is a population in freefall, a fraction of what once roamed the earth, now battered by poaching and squeezed by a humanity that has forgotten how to make space for giants. African savanna elephant, the titan of the plains. This is the towering ruler of the open grasslands, a creature so impossibly massive it feels like looking at a dinosaur that somehow survived into the modern world. Standing next to one, you realize just how small you are. Adult bulls stand up to 36 meters, 11 feet at the shoulder, tall enough to look into the second story of a house. And they weigh a staggering 6 kilograms, nearly 7 tons, making them basically as heavy as a commercial school bus. Even the babies are giants. A newborn calf drops to the ground weighing 120 kilograms, 265 pounds, which is heavier than a heavily muscled human man. To survive the brutal heat of the African plains, evolution gave them massive ears that act like living radiators, pumping blood through a network of veins to cool their enormous bodies. And then there is the trunk, a marvel of biological engineering containing thousands of individual muscles, making it more dexterous, powerful, and sensitive than any human hand. While they are still abundant compared to other elephants, they have lost vast stretches of their historical range to human expansion and are now classified as endangered. They are the undeniable kings of the savanna, but even kings can lose their kingdoms if the world around them refuses to leave them in peace. African forest elephant, the rainforest shadow. While its savanna cousin rules the open sun, this is the ghost-like dweller of the deep jungles. They are smaller, standing about 4 to 3 meters, 8 to 10 feet tall at the shoulder, roughly the dimensions of a delivery truck tip on its side. But what they lack in towering height, they make up for in vital ecological importance. Everything about them is engineered for the dense, suffocating understory. Their tusks are straight and point directly downward, preventing them from getting tangled in thick vines, and their ears are distinctly rounder to navigate the tight corridors of the jungle. As they move, they act as the supreme gardeners of the rainforest, eating and dispersing fruit seeds far and wide to regenerate the very lungs of the earth. Recent DNA studies have revealed a surprising secret. Roughly 135,000 of these phantoms remain hidden in the dense canopy. That is more than scientists previously thought. Yet they are still classified as critically endangered due to the intense, relentless logging of their habitat. The forest elephant proved that you don't have to be the biggest titan to carry the weight of an entire ecosystem on your back. Asian elephant, the gentle forest giant. This is the elephant of ancient kingdoms, veiled in mist-soaked forests and woven into sacred stories for millennia. They are smaller than their African cousins, yet equally majestic. When you see an Asian elephant moving silently through the jungle canopy, you are watching a living myth breathe. They stand roughly 4 to 3 meter, 8 to 10 feet at the shoulder, about the height of a standard single-story ceiling. And they tip the scales between 504 kilograms, meaning you are looking at an animal precisely as heavy as a fully loaded industrial tractor. Their key adaptation lies at the very tip of their anatomy. Unlike African elephants, the Asian elephant possesses a single, highly sensitive finger-like tip on its trunk. This biological multi-tool allows them to wrap, squeeze, and pluck delicate vegetation with a precision that rivals human dexterity. They navigate these dense forested landscapes in smaller, tightly knit herds, always guided by the accumulated wisdom of an elder matriarch. But that ancient wisdom is being pushed to its absolute limit. They are classified as endangered, with only 30,000 to 50,000 individuals remaining in the wild. That is roughly 1/10 the population of their African counterparts. The Asian elephant is a master specialist of the forest, but even a giant cannot survive when the forest itself is systematically stolen away. Sumatran elephant, the shadow of the archipelago. Imagine searching for a giant that is actively fading away before our eyes. The Sumatran elephant is a barely seen island dweller, quietly slipping into the margins of existence. They are the smallest of the Asian elephants, but the tragedy they face is monumentally large. In just a few recent decades, over 69% of their native forest habitat has simply vanished, erased by chainsaws and commercial agriculture at a scale equivalent to clear-cutting an entire small nation. Today, the map is brutally unforgiving. Only 800 of these magnificent creatures remain alive. If you gathered every surviving Sumatran elephant on Earth, they wouldn't even fill the bleachers of a standard high school football stadium. They are scattered and isolated in fragmented pockets of jungle, formerly classified as critically endangered. Standing in the decimated Sumatran rainforest, you realize a grim truth about survival. When a giant runs out of room, it doesn't just adapt, it disappears. Extinction isn't just the death of an animal, it is the death of the wilderness that created it. There are ghosts in the elephant family tree, phantoms like the extinct Javan elephant, a creature that vanished so completely we only know it walked the earth from fossilized clues left behind in the dirt. For the giants that do remain, the laws of physics strictly dictate their lives. You will never see an elephant jump. They are simply too massive. Trying to get all four of their feet off the ground at once would be like trying to launch a commercial delivery truck into the air using only muscle. Yet, despite being so heavily anchored to the earth, they can rear up on their hind legs, towering into the forest canopy to reach food that other animals can only dream of tasting. But an elephant's greatest survival tool isn't its immense size, it is its mind. They possess an extraordinary memory and forge social bonds so strong they rival our own families. A matriarch can remember the exact location of a life-saving waterhole from a drought that happened decades ago, guiding her herd across hundreds of miles of parched earth to salvation. If they can navigate the deadly gauntlet of poachers and human conflict, these animals often live 60 to 70 years in the wild, spanning basically an entire human lifetime. They carry the history of their landscape in their minds. But memory is a fragile thing in a changing world. When an elder falls, the herd doesn't just lose a leader, they lose an entire library of survival. From the sun-baked, open plains of the African Savanna to the suffocating, dense jungles of Asia, elephants are more than just animals. They are the supreme ecosystem engineers, physically shaping the earth beneath their feet, and they stand as living libraries of ancient memory and instinct. But as you look at the fragmented maps of their remaining territories, you see a world that is rapidly closing in on them. As their habitats shrink to a fraction of their former glory and human conflicts inevitably rise, every single elephant's survival becomes a profound testament. It is a testament to the desperate need for conservation, a demand for respect, and the plea for coexistence in a world that is starting to feel far too small for giants. If you want to explore more untold stories of Earth's remarkable wildlife and the fragile threads that bind life together, hit subscribe now